is Chelsea Blues. Garnacho in tow, and it was an interesting one. I bet no one would have predicted this from the jump, but we have the Manchester United starting 11. We had Bayindir in net, De Ligt, Maguire, Shaw, back three, Mazraoui at right wing back, Casemiro, Bruno midfield, Dogu at left wing back, and Mbeumo, Diallo, and Šeško up front for United. What did you make of this 11 coming into the Chelsea match at Old Trafford?
Let's do the good, the bad. The good, I was glad to see that front three, Šeško, Diallo, and Mbeumo. I don't think you make the move and start Cunha or Mount, given their comeback from injury, so I like that. Magoo coming in as the anchor, I was happy to see that once again. And Maz, I think he had to make up for the last game. It wasn't his best, and I think he did in a major way in this game. The bad, Bayindir, I was hoping to see Sens. I thought this was a great opportunity. Now, on reflection, probably not because of the rain. That it probably makes sense. Like, Brentford is made for Sen Lamens' first start. I think Shaw has been pretty poor this season, but he actually did step up. I think he was listening to Roy Keane just, like, slaying him. And then, always have challenges with Casemiro and Bruno playing the two together because Bruno's out of position. Casemiro, you think he'll get up for a game like this. But those are my concerns with the 11. What were your thoughts when you saw what the manager put out?
For me, I wasn't that concerned about the 11. It was all about the reaction. Are we going to see the reaction from the players? And, sir, we did. Right off the jump, United come out hot. You want to get into this match.
They came out of the gates hot. It was raining like I'd never seen in Manchester, and that's saying something. And United immediately put Chelsea under pressure. They were on the front foot. They're trying to maintain possession, pinned them back and create chances, and they did. They had a couple of good ones in those opening minutes. The second minute, Dogu put in a really nice, dangerous cross. Šeško, I think, of a non-wet day, he could have gotten there as a nice kind of slam in the back post. But Mbeumo put in a really nice header, forced the keeper into a good save. And we had a couple of these kind of half chances early until the big moment in the 5th minute when the goalkeeper, Sanchez, is sent off by the ref. Unbelievable that it took this long, but basically there's a ball over the top that went to Mbeumo.
Šeško header on.
Šeško, great header on.
Yeah, great header on. So Bayindir, I think the interesting adjustment the manager made was the fact that we decided, hey, we're going to go long from Bayindir to Šeško, header on to Diallo and Mbeumo. That obviously worked because, back against the wall tactics, coming out early, we're trying to get in behind, get our best players on the ball. It was effective from the jump, and it led directly to this red card. Sanchez comes out, no man's land, clatters Mbeumo. Glad he's not injured, but we get the straight red early. United ready to pounce and just dominate Chelsea. Should have been easier than we made it, but this was a huge call. It was the right call. Red card for Chelsea. Haven't seen this in a long, long time.
No, it was just like, losing your head kind of stuff. It was one of those days. The weather maybe contributed to it, but it's a straight red. Once again, I think Peter Banks had a very poor day, but it took him a while. Even it was so obvious. He smoked him. But anyway, I'm happy. The most important thing is United capitalized on their advantage relatively early in the 14th minute. Bruno Fernandes, in his, 200th appearance for Manchester United, or 200th Premier League appearance, he gets his 100th goal for club.
Yeah, the shots was a short time ago. Ahmad. Mazraoui, down by Dogu, in by Fernandes, and Manchester United are ahead.
What a goal. Needed that one. He looks at the linesman, not sure. VAR took a look. Apparently, here's the thing. Apparently, it's automated offsides. Then they're drawing. So actually, it's not. Then they're drawing lines, which I didn't think. Automated offsides means it's automated, and then you go with that decision. They decided not to go with that decision because it probably said off or something. Then they start drawing the lines. This one was so close to me. Just obviously there was a few different angles. I looked like he was his shoulder was just like a millimeter off. It was so close. I'm glad they kept this goal and kept it on. But this is one of those things that, you hate to talk about VAR in this great game, this great goal. It's a goal. It should count. But why are they making a meal of it with VAR? That was just the takeaway for me.
No, the referee was very poor in this game. I think they saw it was on, and they were looking for a reason to overturn it. But it's a gritty goal, most importantly. I think at the end of the day, you want it to be fast. In the World Cup, it was fast, and they got over it. This took 2 minutes.
This was horrible.
It was a mess all day. But once again, it's close. I think his leg is playing on the defender, but it's a gritty goal. And that's what I loved about Manchester United's goals. They were both gritty, like Dogu with a big header in, and then fucking Bruno there to finish it. Good goal. Love to see it. And those are the kind of goals Manchester United need to be scoring. It can't just be about pretty goals. Just get the ball in the back of the net.
And then Manchester United would continue to fight, sir, in the 37th minute. Casemiro get his goal.
Fernandes. Mazraoui, Dogu around the back. Reece James into the clouds. And nodded in by Casemiro out of chaos. Not too much pretty about that. But few in Old Trafford are waiting to worry.
What a goal. Got to shout out Luke Shaw. He clatters in for the header. That's where the deflection kind of started. Went to Casemiro. Again, VAR tried to find a way for this one not to count. But great header for Casemiro. Now sub him off Amorim because he just got a yellow.
It's another gritty goal. And like you said, Luke Shaw deserves his flowers on this one. We haven't seen enough of this. Players like going, putting their body on the line like old school Manchester United players used to week in, week out. Nice on him. Casemiro doing what he does. Perfect header, bounces it. Goalie can't get anywhere near it. And like you said, Peter Banks gave that first yellow to Casemiro so easily. It was not a yellow. You could tell he was in that mood. It was rainy. You pull him. You have the man advantage. You put in Kobe. You don't need the CDA. And if you do, you go Ugarte. But like I thought that was an obvious choice to make. And what happened? There was like the Cucurella 2 foot in the Maz. Could have been a red. But really it was the 45th plus 5th minute where Casemiro is sent off for a moment of madness, because he pulled down his player. It was crazy. It was like, what are you thinking, bro? We had numbers. We didn't need to do it. Silly tackle, silly challenge. So a little softish, but like you're asking for trouble.
No, you got to know your players. If I know that after he has a yellow in the 40, he probably was trying to get to halftime, honestly. But Casemiro is such a liability on a yellow. He's just generally getting sent off. Like that's just part of his game. He's a great player, a legend of the game. And you have to get him off the pitch. Unfortunately, this happened before halftime. It's soft. Look, the second yellow should meet a higher bar, in my opinion, especially if you're going to affect the game. But I feel like the referee in this situation, knowing Chelsea's playing with 10, he's maybe looking for a reason to give a second yellow. To me, this is just bad refereeing, but we've been seeing that all day. We're going to continue to talk about it with the officiating and then jump into the second half, sir.
And the referee is not going to get any better. And the thing is, like, the referee we've been fans of this game for over 20 years. It's gotten worse. It's gotten really worse in the last 3-5 years because they kind of like half VAR, half out, and they're just making a meal of most things. Anyways, getting that second half, Chelsea were definitely looking to get back in the game. They were pushing for a goal with United, defending well enough. A sub to start the half. I thought this made sense. Ugarte for Šeško. He came on, a little bit more teeth. And it was a lot of the most notable moments were United's defense actually hanging in there. The 62nd minute, great clearance from De Ligt after a dangerous cross in from the right side. He was probably my man of the match. He had a very, very good game. I think, coming off of his really good game off Arsenal. I think those are two standout performances from De Ligt this season. After that, Chelsea did score, but they were well offside, so that got overturned, and they made some subs in the 64th minute.
And that was a set piece again. So,
yes, good point.
If you're just thinking, is this team going to concede set pieces? They did, and then they did again. But so, the whole idea is, there's certain themes with United that we need to pull on. That was it was way off, but again, set piece, dangerous for this team. Sub in the 64th, Cunha comes on, Mazraoui off. This is great to see Cunha healthy and ready to go. We would see another sub, Mason Mount on, Mbeumo off, but again, Mount's healthy. That's great to see. And then Lenny Euro comes on for Harry Maguire. But Chelsea would score in the 80th minute. Chalobah would get the goal here, set piece.
In by Reece James, terrific header. And Chelsea, via Trevor Chalobah, have big interest.
It's just bad defending. Set pieces are a liability for this team. Like I said, if you're going to get after United, if you're watching the tape, it's set pieces all day. United did dig in here. Another sub. What does it take to get Kobe Mino on the field in the 87th minute? He would come on for Bruno Fernandes, who got subbed, but he was doing so much work down 10 men. United did dig in pretty well. It was frantic at the end. Bindier had a good save. Chelsea had one great opportunity, but we stood tall, 2-1. It's 3 points. It's a result. We're dying for a result. We get a result.
It was gritty. Still a lot of the ghosts of Manchester United past sit in this team. You saw it at times. The good and the bad, right? Stepping up early, hot out of the gates against a big side. We did that initially, but we did capitalize on the moments in a way that we haven't this season. So we're getting those 2 goals that ended up being decisive. But at the same time, in the second half, conceding off a set piece, like you said, they were dangerous for another set piece. But that was a combo. That was also conceding off a set piece and just checked off. There's no reason he should have such a free header. You have Lenny Euro right there. It was just, that's Manchester United in a nutshell these days. But most importantly, we get the win. We get the 3 points. Comma. for the week, and that's what I want because we've had enough just fire and brimstone. It's nice when things calm down a little bit, and they will after a big 3 points, and I'll take it all day long.
Looking at the stat sheet, United 11 shots to Chelsea's 5, 4 on target to their 1. They had 59% of the ball despite being down a man. Not great for United, but you kind of have to throw away all the stats here because when Chelsea go down a man that early in the game, it's hard to read into the numbers. XG, we had 1.48, their 0.66, which is positive. But like I said, down a man, it's really hard. The game is kind of thrown to the wind a little bit. United, all we needed to do was just not get someone sent off. We did that. That's just shit football, unfortunately. Bad teams put themselves in bad situations continuously. I felt like United having this gift of a red card, all we needed to do was stay smart, manage the game, not concede a lot of chances. I felt like we did the opposite with this, where we give them a man back. We give up the advantage before halftime. We concede from set pieces, 2 goals, 1 was offsides. It's just more of the same slop from United. Now, I could get after the game specifically, but the result is everything we need. So a win is a win is a win, especially when you're back against the wall. We saw a great start from United. That's the highlight. Now, would we have faded after 15 minutes without the red? I don't know. But once you're in that position, I'm looking to the manager to manage the game. I'm looking to the players on the field to play smart and see this thing out 3-0 and just kill Chelsea with no jeopardy. But United continually find a way to give team chances in our house, and that's just what concerns me. You got to play a little smarter. United being a little sloppy with Casemiro getting that red, despite the referee being harsh. I think we have to be a little sharper because we find a way to lose games, and I feel like that habit has to die hard with Manchester United. I don't think we necessarily saw that today. So that would be maybe one for the bad summing up this game.
No, it didn't have to be this difficult. It didn't have to be this nervy. It didn't have to be this close, and it shouldn't have been. When we got the second goal, we're up a man. We're at home. It's pelting down. You got a player on a yellow. You pull him off. You just don't need that risk because we were basically in cruise control. We were creating chances. They were getting nothing going, being down a man. And then once they had the man, we created nothing. If you look at the XG, after we lost Casemiro and it was back to 10 on 10, or back to even numbers, very little going forward for Manchester United. So it's a win. It's a win. You want to get into the good, the bad? We're here for Ruben Amorim.
Last word, sir. Give us the last word on this match.
On the good, I thought consistent performers who have been pretty good this season, Delit, Maz, Dogu, and Bruno, I thought had pretty strong to excellent games, and the team defended well for large parts of this game. I think they gritted in. In the second half, which you think you would see from Manchester United side playing Chelsea. We did take advantage of those 40 minutes that we were actually up a man and scored those 2 decisive goals. I thought that was really critical because that's not who Manchester United has been in the past. We have squandered our chances, and we almost did today. And I saw some glimmers. Obviously a lot of it was a man up, but there were still exciting glimmers with Mbeumo, Cunha, Šeško, and Ahmad, Mount, all in different parts of the game where I think give this attack time to gel. And a midfield that can hold it together without us losing the plot, they will score goals. They will score a lot of goals. And that's what's exciting, is that we have some really talented attackers. Sorry, tell us about the bad.
The bad, set-piece defending, number 1. You saw it. I'm going to also say giving teams a chance in games they should not even be anywhere. Chelsea get a red card in the 5th minute. That should be game, set, match. It should be over. Somehow the game wasn't. So United have to do a little better playing smart. Looking to the manager, I feel like he has to manage the game a little better in that with that Casemiro red card. It'd be harsh to sub him before halftime. I'm not saying he probably could have done that, but Casemiro has to do better. And then also the mentality of the players. You got to be showing you're going to show up against big teams. It's all about Brentford. So for me, I question whether or not we're going to have that same start full of piss and vinegar away at Brentford. I hope to see it. But for me, that's something that the fans need to watch for. But, sir, before we get into the Brentford preview, let's check in with the manager. What do you have to say after this game? Manchester United 1, Chelsea 2.
Congratulations on the win. You've been through a lot today and the opening weeks of the season. How important was that to get over the line?
It was really important. I think we deserve it, but we complicated our lives every time. I think we started the game really well in terms of the aggression and to push the opponent and to show that we were there, even to bring our fans with us. Of course, the send-off of the goalkeeper helped us a lot, but we were in control. We scored 2 goals, and with everything going well, we complicated with that send-off. The second half, I think we managed well. but in the end, like the last 15 minutes was tough for us. They scored a goal and then we suffered together and we managed to win.
With James, Ruben, what does the nature of that performance tell you about the players' desire to win for you?
I think they show that, but we show also that when everything is going well, we arrange something to make it difficult. But again, just the way that we start the game in the first ball, second ball. I remember when we scored the first one, we have many situations, 3 against 1, 3 against 2, goalkeeper outside of the box. In the last pass, we are not being perfect in that moment, and that can help us a lot to control the games and to win games.
Look, the manager, pretty spot on. He called it straight down the middle, saying, hey, we make it easy for other teams when we should make it hard. And we had a great start. So the manager, he seems very calm. He's got 3 points at his back, and he can call it straight. He's not getting overly emotional in the presser. We didn't just bottle it after giving up the second yellow to Casemiro. So, look, I'm going to say Ruben Amorim, he's talking sense here, sir. If you could rate the manager's presser, how do you think he did today?
It's funny. It's like we don't see enough of this Ruben Amorim. Like happy, light. He could be critical, but it's fine because we won. This is like I like this Ruben Amorim coming off 3 points. I'm giving 8.5. He didn't say anything like overly poetic. Like something that you're going to save forever. So he has had some lines already that you just like, they'll be up there, worst team ever. It's just like, well, sometimes I love my players, sometimes I hate my players, But right down, he was critical without overdoing it. I think he called it very straight, decent presser, and I think it's because of the win.
I'm going 7-2. This is straight down the middle.
You're so funny.
He's a little critical of his team. Maybe a little too critical.
Yeah, maybe.
Because he should say, the way he also got to critique the manager's presser and say he should have said we gave it back to Chelsea, but then I was proud of my team for digging in and getting the result. Something like that. Where you kind of dig them, then you bring them back. He had a little bit of that.
Combo sandwich.
You want to get a 9? Ruben Amorim, come to presser school with the American Red Devils.